Good evening, everyone. Good morning. If you're joining us from Southeast Asia, today is the 14th of January, 9 p.m. If you're joining us from Europe, good afternoon. And if you're joining us from the United States, good morning. Today we're talking about sort of part one in a series of mastering your metabolism. Today I'm going to be talking about stopping overeating, or how to stop, tips for stopping overeating. And there are actually quite a few. We're going to go over a lot of essential oil tips, so take out your pen and pencil so you can take some notes. We're also going to be talking about what's coming in the next couple of weeks. We have a lot of weight loss tips and great products for you to get started on. If you don't have all these products, you may want to consider putting them in your LRP. If your LRP hasn't shipped yet, you know, we have actually one more day for our 200 PV promotion for frankincense. And so up until tomorrow, you can still get a bottle of free frankincense for a 200 PV order. So just keep that in mind if you see anything today that you really love, and you'll be able to pick it up for an extra bonus, if you will. So hold on one second, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Excuse me. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Elena Jordan, and we try to do this call every week without fail. We are a wonderful dynamic group, and going through a series of different sorts of topics on a monthly basis. So this month, the month of January, we're going to be talking about overeating, mastering your metabolism, all things concerning weight, and mastering your figure and form, if you will. I can't jump through the computer and actually help you to go out and exercise, but I'm going to give you some wonderful tips today on how to learn how to stop overeating, because this is a big one. And I have to say, for me at least, this is one of my biggest challenges. Okay, many of the ideas in today's presentation were taken from the book, Essential Oils, Healthcare for Today, A Beginner's Guide. It is fondly known as the LRP book, and it is a compendium of the top 50 health issues from A to Z. If you are a beginner, or if you're helping beginners just to get started, this can be a wonderful way for you to help your team and the people that you are introducing essential oils to get started. Okay, I want to say thank you to our Presidential Diamond team. We have an amazing team here that works to support you and work with you. And as you know, many of your uplines are always busy trying to create ways for you to be successful, and also to stay united and to get the information that you need. And this is just one small piece in that puzzle. Okay, so step number one. First of all, we have our presentation, learn how to stop overeating. Majority of people overeat on a regular basis. And when you look at this giant burger stack, and I don't know if it's a beef burger or a veggie burger, it doesn't matter. There are a lot of calories here and extra sauces and things. And so if you are a person who is challenged perhaps by overeating, today we're going to have some great tips for you to learn just how to become more mindful. So why do we overeat? Is there a unifying reason for us, this unhealthy habit, or is it maybe just dependent on each person? Well, it's really a little bit of both. The reasons we overeat can be grouped basically into three categories. So the first one is your body is confused. We're often in a rush. We eat our meals based around our commutes and lunch breaks versus when our bodies ask for food. Our meals are usually distracted and mindless, and we barely take the time to even recognize when we are full. And so, of course, our body kind of says, I don't know what's going on. Second thing is we are lacking in nutrients. The human body carefully deciphers the information it receives and uses it for future communication. In other words, if you're regularly snacking on unhealthy food when you're not physiologically hungry, this information is being handed to your body as a normal occurrance. So if your snacks of choice don't contain nutrients your body needs. Your body does not know how to communicate that it needs things like essential fats, complex carbohydrates. Instead, it begins to send a signal that I'm not satisfied yet. And so if you're not satisfied yet, what do we tend to do? Eat a little bit more. The third reason that we tend to overeat is we are craving something other than food. I'm going to say that 2 times because I think it's important. We're craving something other than food. While it's possible that you're overeating due to mixed signals and poor nutrition, it's actually more likely that the habit stems from an emotional response. It's not uncommon to seek comfort in pleasure in food, whether it's a particularly stressful day, you got into an argument with someone close to you, or you're going through a major life change. Food can be the easiest form of stress relief for some people, just like therapy, really, in many ways. Food can symbolize special events, happy times with the people you love, and an easy way of treating yourself. However, the result from using food as therapy is short-lived and can facilitate quite a dangerous habit. While it's okay to allow food to comfort you occasionally, you'll be interrupting your body's natural stress response system if you begin to rely on this regularly. So what can we do to get overeating under control? Well, overeating can develop from different causes. The steps to get it under control are fairly consistent. First off, you need to identify and recognize that it is an issue. And second, you have to make yourself available to try different strategies to combat it. Lastly, you must be ready to take control of your life, health, and happiness, really. And so just think to yourself, if your eating was under control, how much better would you feel about yourself? That feeling of, I have mastery and I know what direction I'm going into, instead of, oh my gosh, I just ate too much. What was I thinking? So let's talk about some of the stress, the reasons, or the things that we can do to begin to combat overeating. So first of all, the first thing I want to talk to you about is nutrition. And while we are completely mindful that eating a healthy diet and getting the right nutrients and balance is very important, one of the easiest ways to do this is with our lifelong vitality pack. So from left to right, our XE Omega, our Mycoplex VMZ, and our Alpha CRS. Our XE Omega is an omega-3 fatty acid, which contains components that are great for the heart and the brain, with 9 essential oils, including clove, which is a wonderful antioxidant. It delivers 340 milligrams of EPA and 240 milligrams of DHA, basically different types of fatty acids that help us with brain function and formation. And they can support our healthy cardiovascular, immune, joint, and brain health. Our VMZ is a whole food formula of bioavailable vitamins and minerals that are often deficient in our modern diets. It also includes a patented enzyme delivery system to ensure optimal nutritional absorption. And finally, our Alpha CRS, powerful antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and cellular energy producer. These ingredients are part of a proprietary formula shown to support healthy cell proliferation and lifespan, and to support a healthy cellular inflammatory response. So if you are not taking your lifelong vitality, or if you've let it go for a little while, or maybe you've never even started, I'm going to challenge you to start your lifelong vitality pack today. We are going to be talking in the next 2 weeks a lot about how important it is for getting proper nutrition, and why proper nutrition can help us not only to master our metabolism, but to stop overeating, which are both keys for us to maintaining a healthy weight. So let's talk a little bit now about mindfulness. What is mindfulness? It's a concept really derived from Buddhist philosophies and a form of meditation focused on self-reflection. Specifically, the goal of a mindfulness practice is to gain a better understanding of your emotions and physical sensations and how to efficiently manage them. In other words, mindfulness brings awareness and acceptance to the present moment. Research has found strong connections between a mindfulness meditation practice and physical, psychological, and emotional health. For example, it's reported to reduce stress, compulsive behavior, and emotional reactivity. Also, there's an improvement of relaxation, immune system response, and empathy. While it's possible to condense this into a short description, it's nearly impossible to fully grasp this concept without trying it out for yourself. Luckily, you're not required to begin a formal daily meditation practice to reap the benefits, but we are going to be discussing a specific branch of mindfulness that helps to halt overeating in a nurturing and forgiving way. So let's talk about mindful eating 101. So mindful eating is the process of bringing your full attention to your experiences, cravings, physical cues, and emotional responses while eating. There are many elements that compose this practice. Some include eating slowly, removing distractions, refining communication with your body to recognize true satiety, distinguishing between physical and emotional hunger, entertaining your senses with the details of the food, healing negative relationships you may have with food, noticing the way individual foods make you feel, learning to truly appreciate your food. And we're going to go through all these components today, quickly, of course, but I think we're going to get enough of an overview so that you're going to know exactly what you need to do in the future. And these shifts are going to allow you to replace negative thoughts, reactions, and habits around food with more conscious and directed responses. So by restoring our attention to the present moment, eating becomes a much more intentional experience versus the automatic, thoughtless encounter that's become the standard really in today's society. And I will tell you, last night I actually walked into my son's room and was there munching on some snacks. And my son is an athlete, it's true, and he's extremely active, and he can probably afford to use or eat a few more calories than the rest of us. But he was just mindlessly eating some sort of crisps or, I don't know, jerky or something that he loves to snack on. And he had eaten a decent lunch and a decent breakfast, and dinner was not too far away. So it made no sense for him to be eating more. And I walked in and I said, "What are you doing? Why are you eating?" And he looked at me with a surprised look. And then I said, are you really hungry, or are you just bored? And he said, "I think I'm bored." And I said, "Okay, get up from there, put that food down. Let's start doing something." When we went out, and while it was very cold, we were actually able to take a quick walk and just get out of the house and get away from the food. Sometimes when it's a quiet day, we begin to do things that make no sense or just really put us in a very reflective mood, but not necessarily positively reflective. And then we begin to munch, which is not good. So what are some of the strategies we can use for mindful eating? Number one is slow your fork. The benefits of eating slowly are plentiful. Some include more efficient digestion, better hydration, easier weight management, and more appreciation and enjoyment for the food being eaten. Conversely, eating quickly, or our average speed, leads to poor digestion, can lead to weight gain, and less satisfaction from our meals. In our fast-paced society, there's very little things we take the time to intentionally do slowly. However, neglecting to slow down our eating habits gives us more than a couple of extra minutes. It also gives us a lot more calories. And so how does this happen? And I have to say, I have this disease, the quick eating disease. So I am definitely guilty of this one. And let's see if we can figure out now some ways that we can slow down our fork. Number one, are you going to finish that? It takes approximately 20 minutes from the start of eating for the brain to communicate the feeling of satiety. In other words, you may not even begin to sense being full until after your meal. Researchers at the University of Rhode Island examined the speed of various participants. The study concluded slow eaters consume 2 ounces of food per minute. Medium speed eaters consume approximately 2.5 ounces of food per minute. Fast eaters consume 3.1 ounces per minute. That's a big difference. That's almost a third more for the fast eaters. This differentiation of speed makes a huge difference cumulative. Using this data, it can be concluded that someone who eats fast will eat approximately 22 more ounces of food compared to those who eat slowly. That adds up. And by the way, 22 ounces is approximately 3/4 of a kilo. That's a lot of food. Another study conducted at the University of Rhode Island calculated the amount of calories consumed between different eating speeds, and the results are shocking. Women who ate quickly consumed 646 calories in 9 minutes. Women who ate slowly consumed only 579 calories in 29 minutes. You read that right, or you heard that right. 67 less calories in 20 more minutes. So what does that tell me? If you slow down, you can begin to lessen the amount of calories you can consume. I don't care if you have to watch the clock the first few days when you start to do this, or set a timer on your watch and basically say to yourself, I won't eat another thing until that timer actually sounds. For me, it can be tricky because we are eating, and for many of us, we're eating on the go, we're eating on the run, but that idea, what we don't serve yourself a normal portion of food and then wait the 20 minutes and see if you can really, if you've eaten enough. Okay, how to guide to slowing down, because it's not just, it's easy to say I need to slow down, but how actually do we slow down? How do we come more mindful? So eating more slowly is much easier said than done, but because we're faced with an abundance of choices, distractions, and pressure in our daily lives. Many people eat in front of the television, or we eat in fast food areas, or in food courts or hawker stalls, and easily translate to how we address on our plates can be eliminated when we're faced with so many distractions. Some tips that can help you implement slower eating include put down your utensils between bites. So put down your fork, put down your chopstick, and allow yourself to just chew the morsel that's in your mouth and breathe. Set a minimum number of chews per bite. Now, when I was a little girl, my mom always used to tell me that it was 32 chews. It seems like a lot, folks, but it's really not. And when your food is properly chewed, it's also going to be properly digested. Take smaller servings at first and allow yourself to go back for more if appropriate. Now, this is a tough one for me because if I go back for more, I usually wind up eating too much. I'd rather take one portion and then limit myself to one portion. You can also set aside 20 to 30 minutes to eat each meal, not just eating on the fly or in your car or anywhere you can think of. And finally, find an accountability partner you can pace your eating with. And I'm going to ask you to type in the chat so that we can see it at the end. Do you have any strategies that can slow down your eating ritual? Now let's talk about minimizing distractions. We're surrounded by them, whether it's responsibilities or entertainment. Our attention's taken away when we're scrolling through our emails, watching television, taking phone calls. You can see this lady here is reading, and she looks like she's on the computer and doing some other work and eating at the same time. Whenever your brain is occupied by another task, eating becomes a mindless act. This leaves you susceptible to missing your body's natural hunger cues and often overeating. Next time you eat with distractions, ask yourself, did I enjoy this food? How much did I eat? Am I getting full? Do I feel nourished? If these questions are hard to answer, it's a clear indication that you're not truly paying attention to what's on your plate and in turn, not experiencing the benefits your food can provide for you. So I want to give you a couple of tips now, things that you can do. So number one, you want to rely on your senses. Let's break it down. Number one, of course, is your sense of taste. This, of course, seems obvious, but what we really pay attention to are the individual tastes of the food we're eating. Is it sweet, sour, bitter, salty, savory? Can you tell what seasonings are on it? Do you like the way it tastes? How about your sense of smell? It's closely related to taste, of course, and I want you to take a minute and notice the smells. Is it fresh? Is it savory? What are the smells that you are experiencing? And then look at your food. Take a look at the shape, the color. I know some of you are really terrific about photographing your food and really being mindful of looking at the beauty of the food when it's first plated. And I have to say, some of my dear friends in Southeast Asia are actually the slimmest, and you pay attention to what you're eating. I know some of you are great photographers. My friend Alan Tay will often have beautiful photographs on his Facebook page, and he's also, I'm sure, very mindful of what he eats and puts into his body. We want to hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. So what does this mean? It means we can be drinking water throughout the day to be able to, because we sometimes confuse the feeling of hunger with the feeling of thirst. It also means we want to be mindful that we're hydrating with low-calorie beverages, things like water with essential oils. We're adding lemon oil, perhaps, into our water, or some of the other citrus oils. All of the citrus oils can give a delicious boost to water. You can add Slim and Sassy into your water. But I want you to think about things like lemon, lime, orange, wild orange, grapefruit, even things like peppermint can be delicious ways for you to change it up every day, and also mixing essential oils, maybe 2 citrus oils in a single bottle of water. Carry your water with you and stay hydrated. Especially in hot climates, it's easy to get dehydrated, but it's also easy to get dehydrated in cold climates. And when it's cold, we tend to drink less because we don't want to drink anything cold. The only thing we want are warm beverages, and it's not always possible to get warm water on the go. You can always get coffee and tea, but many of those are actually dehydrating. So be mindful and hydrate. The other thing you want to try to do is to sleep tight. Get yourself a good place, a good bed with a good mattress and some support. Sleep in a room that's not overly hot or cold. Develop a sleep routine, and then also develop the habit of using some of the doTERRA products for sleep. Things like Serenity essential oil that you can put on your feet and on your pillow, on your pulse points every night before you go to bed. Also get in the habit perhaps of taking the Slim and Sassy capsules, or the Serenity capsules, or diffusing essential oils in your bedroom so that you do begin to have a restful night's sleep. Sleep is very important as we manage our metabolism and manage overeating. If we're too tired, we tend to seek out additional food to be able to boost our metabolism and to feel more energetic. We may not actually need more food. We may need extra sleep. The other thing I want you to do is say, sorry, I have plans. So begin to separate yourself from your food. So for example, if I were to sit in my dining area, which is right next to my kitchen, every night after I finished my dinner, I would probably eat more. I would be right next to my kitchen. It's right there. And I might be tempted to go in and say, I'll have a cup of tea. Oh, and a cracker, and maybe a piece of chocolate or a piece of fruit. Those extra calories over time can add up. So begin to make plans for right after dinner, whether it's reading a book to a child or getting out and taking a walk, or talking to a friend on the telephone. Begin to book a class perhaps right after dinner so that you separate yourself from your food. I find very often if I get up from the table and then walk away and go do something else, my desire to actually go downstairs it completely goes away. The other thing is we tend to get lazy. If you're in another part of the house or out of the building entirely, you're not going to go back to try to find food. So make those plans after dinner and make sure you stick with them. Maybe pick something that you can do every night, like exercising, for example, or at least taking a walk. Make some space. You want to make sure that you have healthy snacks available, but you also want to make sure that any snacks that are tempting to you are removed from your environment. So making sure that snacks that are healthy, like fresh fruits and vegetables that are cut up and ready to go, are in your refrigerator waiting for you. Maybe a pitcher of water with essential oils in it, or some fruit or lemon slices floating in it, can be a great way for you to hydrate. And then if you do have something that's a terrible temptation, like chips or snacks or fatty nuts or any kind of fatty food, just begin to take it out of your environment. You can share it with someone else and then not buy it again. Especially when we live alone, it's very difficult to avoid temptations like that. If you live in a family, resist the temptation to buy things for someone else in the house, especially if it's something you love. So in my case, I love nuts, but I hate peanuts. I just don't like them at all. And my husband loves nuts, but he loves peanuts. He's able to control his eating of peanuts to about 4 or 5 peanuts a day, maybe 10 tops. He's very regimented and only eats a certain amount. He measures them out and then he fully enjoys them. For me, peanuts are not a temptation. So they're a great way for me to have nuts in the house for my husband, but not to be tempted in my house. However, if I had pistachios or cashews in my house, it would be very hard for me to resist. So I just avoid purchasing those nuts, except maybe if I'm having a party and I know that they're all going to be eaten up on the same night and I can just have 1 or 2 as a quick snack. But on a regular basis, I need to keep them out of the house. You want to remove traps, and this goes back to having things in your house that you are tempted to eat. The other thing is when you make plans for a restaurant, perhaps pick something in advance that you know that you can eat. So the minute that you get to the restaurant, you can order exactly what it is you planned. If you're starving when you get to the restaurant, ask the server to take the bread basket off the table. Also, drink a glass of water before you get there. All of these things can help you to master your metabolism and also avoid overeating. Okay, so I want to talk about Slim and Sassy because this is a great way to avoid some traps. You can take it internally by adding it to your favorite smoothie to help you feel full longer. You can apply it topically, creating a wrap with plastic wrap. You can use Slim and Sassy, eucalyptus, wintergreen, peppermint, lavender, grapefruit, and grape seed oil. Now, some of these wraps that you've seen on television and in other places can actually be very expensive. The goal with these wraps is to draw water out of the skin so that your skin begins to has the appearance of being smoother. But I will tell you, this is not a permanent solution for weight loss. It does help with the appearance of the skin, and if you're going to be traveling and in a bathing suit and you want to look nice and slim, this is a great temporary tip. But taking your Slim and Sassy internally is actually a better way for you to really begin to curb the cravings and not eat as much. You want to be mindful because it can be sensitive on young or sensitive skin. You can always dilute it with some fractionated coconut oil if you desire. The smell of the Slim and Sassy is wonderful, and using it aromatically in your office space or during a workout to help you keep going. I sometimes take it in the morning before I go to work out at the gym because I love the combination and I feel it gives me a little bit of a wake up. Great for mindfulness and also to slow us down. Okay, let's talk about things being aesthetically pleasing. When you prepare your food, you want to make sure that it actually looks appetizing. When it looks appetizing, you're more likely to eat in a healthy manner. We don't want to just grab whatever is out there and shove it in our mouths. Take the time to put your food on an attractive plate, maybe add some fresh fruit, pour your water, prepare your salad. Take the time to make your food look pleasing. Don't just grab whatever's there. And please don't grab food out of your pantry or your cabinet and eat it standing up. Eating standing up is very hard on the digestion. And really, all of those calories tend to be extra calories because we are not as mindful when we're just popping things into our mouths. We want to make sure that our food, of course, is nutritionally balanced. So here we see a variety of foods, beans and legumes and grains, and some meat and eggs and some cheese. I know many of you are vegan or vegetarian. I don't see tofu here, but tofu is another wonderful option. But you want to make sure that you're eating a nutritionally balanced diet. You want to make sure that your body is not craving, perhaps, excuse me, a specific nutrient. Hold on, I'm going to take a sip. That it it otherwise would not be getting if you weren't eating something that was nutritiously balanced. We want to make sure that when you're ordering anything in a restaurant, that you're ordering less. Use a smaller plate perhaps and a taller glass. You can play around with the color of your dishes, and you always want to make sure you're not eating from the package, right? Whoops. You want to make sure that each meal is constructed with nutrients in mind, high quality proteins, and your brain receives the message and signals that the feeling of fullness more accurately and much faster versus empty calories of packaged foods. Okay, so we also want to quit skipping meals. This is a big thing, folks. A lot of us are on the go or are rushing all day long, and we somehow see it as a badge of honor if we skip a meal. Oh, I haven't eaten all day. Really, that's not the best way to pursue weight loss. Weight loss is better pursued by eating small amounts of food throughout the day, and maybe measured food. So we can do things like meal prep, and I know many of you do this. But meal prep is the act of getting things ready in advance, whether it's a week or a day, cutting up vegetables, having them ready in the refrigerator, perhaps pre-packaging our lunch and carrying it with us. You all know that if you have a pre-packaged meal available for you right there with you, you're more likely to eat it. And also, you know exactly what's in it. Our lives tend to be busier than our meal plans, and maybe you woke up too late to eat breakfast, or your lunchtime is stolen by extra work that needs to be done, but really it's not a great excuse for missing meals. Instead, try to plan to have something available that's easy and nutritious. I often cut up vegetables and put them in a small Ziploc bag and carry them with me, or perhaps a few dried fruits. I find that it tides me over. And everything is pre-measured, so I know exactly what it is that I'm eating. Let's talk a little bit now about yarrow palm, one of our brand new essential oils. Some of you got it as part of the Dream Kit from the convention. Others of you have been ordering it now as it came online. I know that it was out of stock for a couple of days, but it's coming back in, or it should be just back in stock this morning. Not only does it provide powerful antioxidant support, promotes cellular, immune, and nervous system health, it supports healthy metabolic function. What does that mean? It means that our bodies are continuing to burn the calories that we need at an effective rate, and that as we age, and we are all aging, even though some of us are very young, we are continuing to digest our foods at a rate that makes sense for us so that we're not putting on additional weight. And for any women that I'm talking to, whether you are in your menstruating years or you're perimenopausal or menopausal or have gone through menopause already, your metabolism will begin to slow down as you age, and where you are in your cycle may also affect how much you eat or how much you're craving. Be mindful of these effects, and yarrow palm can be a wonderful way for you to balance out your month, or perhaps balance out your year if you're going through perimenopause or have already gone through menopause. Yarrow palm may be just the thing that you need. You can take it in capsules. You can take it directly underneath the tongue, a few drops every morning. I've actually been adding it to a capsule every morning. And I know as we launch Master Your Metabolism next week, in our next week's presentation, we're going to find a lot more about yarrow palm. It can also help to maintain blood pressure already in the normal range. Okay, let's also talk about stress management. Let's try practicing some of the stress management techniques when you begin to feel like you need comfort from food. How about things like going for a nice walk, maybe taking a warm bath, listening to your favorite music. I like listening to your favorite music because it can be done on the run. If you're having a particularly bad day, just putting on your earbuds and listening to something that's soothing or maybe energizing can be exactly what you need. You can start a new book. You can arrange to spend time with your friends or loved ones, schedule a massage or a facial exercise, a big one, or maybe practice meditation. If you want to help yourself heal from emotional eating, there are some great videos on YouTube, and I'm going to post them on the websites, Team doTERRA Diamond and also Oil Camp Alumni. The power of accountability. Involving your family and close friends in the process of beginning to eat a little bit less can be beneficial not only to you, but to them. The power of accountability is very strong, and you may find that sharing the experience with other people can help you savor it more, pay more attention to your meal together, and better avoid overindulgence. Having someone to discuss this process, share the transformation, rejoice in the benefits is an incredible tool to end overeating for good. And I will say, some of you know that over the last year, I had actually taken off quite a bit of weight. And part of that process was finding an accountability partner. And it was actually somebody at my gym. It was not somebody at the on the team. And I found she's a nutritionist and sort of a health coach. And I was able to get in there on a regular basis, talk to her about my struggles, talk to her about my successes, also weigh in at the gym on a regular basis. And it made sense for me because it was someone that I was in contact with on a regular basis. I continue to touch base with her now that I've reached my goal weight, but I also like the idea that there's somebody there that kind of keeps me on track and is doing the same thing that I am doing. You can also find wonderful resources on Instagram and Facebook. There are some great pages that I follow on a regular basis, and you can too. People that are living this lifestyle of managing their eating and managing their weight and doing it in a way that makes sense to them. Okay, so I want you to ask yourself, each time you eat, am I hungry? And then once you've eaten, am I satisfied? Do I need more food? What is causing me to crave more? How fast did I eat? Did I eat intentionally? Did I enjoy what I ate? And would I have changed anything? If you can begin to ask yourself these questions on a regular basis, they're going to become automatic. I find sometimes now when I sit down to eat, and I know soup is a big one for me. I don't know why, but now, especially when it's cold, I'll sit down with a bowl of soup and I'll gobble it down because I'm freezing. And then all of a sudden I think, I need another bowl of soup. But do I really need another bowl of soup? Or do I just need to sit and be mindful and feel the warmth of the soup? And usually the answer is the latter. So I've gobbled up my soup because I was cold, but do I really need extra soup? And usually the answer is no. You know what? You can wait. So the next time I sit down with a bowl of soup, maybe I'll make it extra hot so that it's harder for me to eat fast, and then I can really savor it over 20 minutes and be mindful of exactly what it is that I'm eating. So you also ask yourself, am I hungry? And then finally, am I satisfied? Honor your responses and adjust your behavior accordingly. Remember, it's unlikely that this change is going to occur overnight. There are many strategies you begin to implement immediately. They'll make a huge difference in your ability to avoid overindulgence. The additional resources, including top 50 websites dedicated to mindful eating, top 10 mindful eating phone apps on the market right now, and another mindfulness webinar that we're going to talk about next week when we talk about Master Your Metabolism, are all going to be available on the Facebook pages. So I just want to say in the final analysis, thank you. And then if you have any questions, please text me in the chat. Okay. Oops. So I stopped the share, and I'm actually going to stop the recording so I can answer any questions.